Hello, friends. Happy Q&A Tuesday. Somebody wrote me the sweetest, most heartfelt kind of share and question. And this person said, I am obese. Every morning I get up and think I'm really going to be good today. Every day. Some nights I cry because I've failed. I've always had tactile issues when it comes to food, so I'm not the healthiest eater. I would like to get past it. How can I be good? How can I do that? How many times most of us have had that thought? Here's this condition. I'm going to get up out of bed today. Here's my day ahead of me. And I'm going to be really whatever it is that's called good. I have a friend who recently was sharing with me that her idea of good, almost said in the same way, is getting up at 5 or 5:30 a.m., having a concentrated writing period, getting special work done, being very, very productive in the day, and then taking off for, the hike or the run or the yoga, and kind of had a mapped out sort of idea, and then was thinking that it was complete failure, going through some difficult emotional experiences, and that it was complete failure to just spend the whole day in bed, which she had done off and on. Like this idea I have of how I should be, I've only done a couple times, she exclaimed. Only done a couple times in the past 6 months, or whatever length of time it is. And this person who's writing, I'm going to be good today, and then I cry because I failed. I remember having that thought about binge eating. So same issue. Focus is centered around, with the highlight around food and eating. It's going to look like this. Here's what, if it looks like this, is when it will be, favorable, positive, good, the right way to be. There's definitely a right way to be with it and a wrong way to be with it. Another client was recently talking about having followed quite well, well, I don't know if they considered that, and now that I think about it, if they did it quite well, but they were following a plan, and they were calling in their plan so that they had a person who would hear what the plan was and what was being eaten, or there'd be communication if they were wanting to go off the plan and change the plan. And the inquirer felt very, like it was very rigid and controlling, and then was frightened about losing the relationship with the person that she liked so much, who she would make contact with around this, sharing what it was she was eating and what it was she wasn't going to be eating. And this is what my plan is for eating. And, it's sweet to have a supporter and contact. And I suppose, as we say, accountability. And just that it is of human nature to say, yeah, I really, really want to do this. And by telling you that I'm doing it, I believe I'll be supported. I'll feel the support, because I won't want to, fail or do it differently. I don't want to have a conversation later that says I didn't do it. I like the encouragement. I like the connection, or the praise, or the being witnessed that I'm doing it well, or making it. And not that there's anything wrong with any of those, but just looking at all the experience around good and bad. There's a good way to be and there's a bad way to be, and how much, my goodness, how much we have pictures in our mind about what it's supposed to look like. And it looks like, I remember that feeling, it looks like the binge eating is not supposed to be what it looks like. And I would think of myself as greedy and disgusting and damaged and broken. Something's very, very wrong. We don't just have this with compulsion, with our behaviors where we're overdoing something. We have it with our emotional experience. I'm really upset with that person, that coworker. This person bugs me so much. I just enter the room and I see them in the meeting and I'm like, bristle. I'm nitpicking with my spouse, or every time I think of my child, I think, oh my God, that's such a problem. And I have all the images, all the ideas. And there's the right way to be that will be favorable and good and helpful and supportive. And there's the wrong way to be that is broken and damaged and gross and shameful. And it's so hard when there's two pathways, it looks like. And it appears that even though we're so looking at that good way to be, the one that we think is a good way to be, we wind up jumping over and going down the other direction. Great duality, great back and forthness, lots of ideas and thinking in the mind. But what if with the work here, there actually truly wasn't a good and a bad pathway? I mean, I love, there can be some comfort for the mind, which loves to think about the past and project into the future, past and future and past and future, and making up things about the future and going over and reviewing and churning up memories and, evaluating yourself and what's happening as whether it's good or bad. And there's a lot going on there, and it looks to us like if we did the good thing, well, that was a good day and it turned out like this, and then that didn't happen, and I was abstinent or didn't do the thing that I want to do, or didn't feel so hooked by my habit or my thinking. And so that looks really good. That looks really favorable, but we'll say so quickly, that's a good thing. And so it's very strange to even wonder about this. What if we didn't know what was good or bad at all? It's almost like when we start saying, this is the good way to be and this is the bad way to be, at least this feels that way to me, is that there's kind of a choice. And this evaluation can come out and kind of, well, just blame you and you'll be at fault. I love thinking, what if how you inherently are is actually in balance, not damaged or broken? There might be an alarm going off, and it's fantastic. The alarm is going off saying, wow, something is really churning and building and squeezing inside of you. There's a lot of feelings about something that's been underway or that has happened. And we almost never, I don't know, I would never look at that much until I got into group therapy, or till, I went everywhere trying to kind of figure out how to solve this problem of myself overeating in my case. But as I did that, some things became kind of sweetly seen, just relaxed and in a gentle way. And the first thing I did is I completely stopped attempting to do whatever, to look at things in such a black and white way. This is a good way to be, and this is the bad way to be. These are good things to eat, and these are bad things to eat. This is a good way to be with food and to think about food, or to think about that issue or that problem or that thing that's popping up in my life. And this is a bad way to be with that thing, that person, that condition that's coming up in my life, and would just relax that whole thing. Relax that whole thing, because we don't know. What if this is happening for a very, very amazingly important reason? What if anybody, any human being who had had the same experiences I ever had and bumped into the same language and people and heard the things that I heard and observed what I observed and noticed what I noticed would also have a binge eating problem? And I'm not anything special and unusual, not unusually bad. It would make perfect sense that just the kind of thinking mind would make conclusions about what was going on, and doing the best I can, kind of like by the seat of the pants, just moment to moment, be kind of quickly trying to stabilize and do what it needs to do and get in control and have a lot of thinking about whatever's happening, going on, lots of evaluations and assumptions and interpretations, and that would all be happening to anybody who had the same experience. So nothing really that unusual there. Boy, it sure isn't unusual to have difficult or unwanted habits, is it? I mean, do we know anybody who doesn't have something like that? It's quite rare. Wow, I'm really getting concerned about this one issue, and I just keep going to it, and I kind of get hyper focused and obsessive, and it doesn't matter what your thing is, like, oh my God, I have to have more money. I can relate to that one. Or, oh my God, I gotta have to have less food. Oh my God, I've got to have more confidence. Just less nail biting. So just dropping, wondering, who would I be without the story of good or bad? And that I need to figure it out, and that there's going to be loss, and I need to manage this, and I need to have plans. I know that's not very popular to not have a plan. And sometimes, as somebody said recently, a plan can be like good training wheels, but we never know if the plan, how long it's ever going to work, or if it's really going to stay looking like that. I went on a trip this past summer, and one of the people in this big family trip, there was like 7 or 8 people to organize or, have fun together. And one of the people was really into organizing, and kind of gave which is fabulous, and kind of gave a sheet on, here's what we could do on Tuesday, and here's what it looked like on Wednesday, and here's Thursday, because it sounded fun to her. And I agreed that if we all want to see this place in New York City, and walk the High Line in New York City, maybe we'll do it on, like, let's do that on Thursday. Not scattered around in all different directions, but part of the whole purpose of the event was doing it together. And it was fabulous, because it also it gave some structure, and it could be easily changed at any moment, and anyone could break off and say, I think I'm done, I'm gonna go sit someplace, I'm gonna lie down in the park over there, I think I'll back out of the museum, or I think I want to join you, I've been over here, where are you guys now? All that could happen easily and comfortably, and it did. And it was nice to have this loose plan. I found it very helpful. I just kind of enjoyed that somebody else felt like doing that. And I suppose it would have been okay if nobody felt like doing it. But I love that she said, I just like doing this because, based on all my years of experience and traveling with groups and family, it's just nice to have a little bit of things so there's not huge discussions about, what do we all feel like doing right now today? What should we do today? And then lots of discussion. So there was just, receiving input beforehand. What do you really want to see while you're here? And so it worked out well. And that was nice to have these things, what's a must see for you, and what's totally flexible, and what do you maybe not care about. And I was kind of loose on everything, to be honest. I'll just want to be with everybody, and So the nice thing about that is just that it did provide some sort of landing space, so it didn't feel totally chaotic or like a lot of energy needed to be put into something to even start. So, like with this inquirer who wrote the question, how interesting that this person thinks I have tactile issues. So that just tells me there's things with, physical feeling and maybe the textures and temperatures in the mouth and how things feel kind of going into the body. And what if that was just wonderful that it was like that? And this person is noticing and aware. Following that sentence, yes, I'm a tactile person, and so I'm not the healthiest eater. That's interesting. Like, why would that mean you're not healthy? So it's just noticing and watching all of it, and then seeing with great curiosity what's happening during that day. If you didn't have to look at it like it's good or bad and label. I remember thinking, like, if a scientist is going to study a strange, let's say they discovered a strange new insect, they would just want to watch it in its habitat, like, ooh, look at this is happening. And they would stare at it and just observe and make notes and look and be so curious and kind of not want to get all involved in the environment to make sure they didn't hopefully mess up anything over there, so that they could see what it is these creatures and these insects actually do. They'd want to see. So I like if we looked at ourselves in this same way, like, what is actually going on? What am I thinking and believing that probably isn't true for me? Something was born in complete and total balance. We just got beliefs piled on top, and we started thinking that they were true. And then we start thinking those ones are good beliefs and those ones are bad beliefs. Thinking is fantastic. It's awesome. It puts together things like that family trip to New York City that I got to experience this summer with somebody who's, kind of offering up a structure, but it's just a tool. And it doesn't mean it is the right or wrong thing. And it'll look like it's so risky to kind of be super open-minded and just take a look. Is this working? Is this working for me? Is this balanced? Does this feel right? So, and it's moment to moment, the mind just loves to see, make the greatest prediction of what will work. Who would I be without my story? That there's a right and a wrong. You would just have to see moment to moment what felt in the most balance. If there's no right or wrong, and you're also kind of, you've taken in information based on the past, it's okay. But now there's no right or wrong, that it's gone the way it's gone. You just know you'd like to, look and make some adjustments. And I find that the greatest amount of information for me was inside my head and my thoughts. It was really the only reason I was ever binge eating ever in the first place. My thinking, my beliefs, and to see what they are in the moment when the reaching and grabbing is wanted, or when I start to feel so sad. Oh, that's such a sad thought, or have a really strong feeling. How fantastic to have a strong feeling. Because then I can see, wow, what am I thinking? What did I decide was true based on the past? I've decided something is just true. What if it isn't? What if it isn't that I'm bad, or that I have to try to be good? I know all the wonderful supportive things say we're already born, good or whatever. But what if you don't have to use even that word. It's just born with everything that you need. Whole, kind of like, just perhaps it doesn't look like we're tapping into everything that we need. We're just not seeing it. What if we are? It's just like this organism is functioning, we're born with a, a beating heart and blood flow and the ability to breathe. Maybe it's not a perfect metaphor because sometimes people aren't, but then that's okay too. Like there's these little aberrations in nature, and then maybe that organism doesn't live. It's okay. But if that's not a bad thing. So I just really love noticing thoughts can't be telling us the truth, especially if they feel uncomfortable, if they feel threatening, if they feel bad or sad. If I feel like I'm in danger, but I really do like to respect those thoughts instead of just dismissing them and saying, oh, that's not real, but looking and seeing whatever it is that they are. I used to have a lot of thoughts like, I got to get rid of this anxiety, and it wouldn't even be that clear, but I just realized that what was going on. I'm terrified. I have anxiety. I think I'm going to be rejected. I'm afraid of being abandoned. I don't like those people don't like me. I never want that to happen again. One great place to start is just to journal what you think is uncomfortable about life. What's difficult about life? What's dangerous about life? Because otherwise we wouldn't need these behaviors to help us out. So yeah, I think you really want the behavior will just relax itself away. It'll just dissolve away. There will be no need to control a single thing about it. All those ideas about how to make the food plan and be abstinent, or count your days since you've ever had the drug, or any of that stuff that's going on. They're great if it's supportive for a little while, maybe like those training wheels that the person said. And really, though, if we're born completely and fundamentally with everything that we possibly would need, nobody ever needed a plan. You just feel what's really right for you. Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love this. I love it when I see comments coming in. It's very sweet. A lot of thoughts. I'm having a lot of thoughts about the economy and inflation. Love it. That is such a real thing. I've had that before too, about whatever the money's doing and whatever's happening, and that there'll be danger coming. So we need to have this, if I just have some stability, kind of stable plan or whatever it is that the mind will come up with, and just thinking, yeah, we don't really know. We don't know. I don't know what I'm going to have for lunch in a week. I honestly don't know what I'm going to have for lunch today. And I like it that way. Something seems just fun, and I could probably say what I'm likely to have for lunch. It seems like there's some things that are just had regularly all the time. They're what's in my fridge. But if I'm not super scared of it, if I am super scared of it, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But that's what'll be great to do the journaling about. So what do I see? There's just pictures that appear of what it will look like. I'll never be able to do da da da, or this will happen, and these things that will happen, and it won't look good, and people won't survive, and it'll be terrible. Just all those images and pictures that are coming based on the past and projected into the future. And right now, what's okay? What's okay? So just consider there is neither good nor bad, fundamentally. It was just constantly flowing and changing. Doesn't that look like what is really true? Like in history and probably what's in the future? It's just creative and ever-changing and always new things appearing. And I'm willing to go into this total mystery. In fact, I kind of have no choice. And that's okay. And I just like to find out what will happen. I'll find out what will happen. This little scaffolding of like, here's some ideas about what to see in New York City. and we may or may not see them. Who knows? And that's okay. It's not because anybody's bad. And so this goodness and badness, very difficult. So I just say to this questioner who, wondered about that, how can I be good? Well, I will say, and I know it doesn't mean that just because I say it, that you suddenly believe it. And I had people say this to me, and I wasn't so sure. But what if you're already good? Complete. Like whatever good means, good. What if even this off balance thing is actually saying, hey, hey, you're so sad about something. You're so frightened about something. It's okay. You might have a need, that you're not meeting. Who knows? No good or bad. No good or bad. What if there isn't a good or bad? So let me know how that goes, everyone. All right. Lots of love.